Okay. So I think today is Akhila Amma supposed to do the summary.
Hari Om Raghuji. Yes, I am doing the summary.
Okay. Okay, want to start the prayer, Amma?
Yes, Raghuji. Oh. 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 Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम यतः सर्वाणि भूतानि प्रतिभान्ति स्थितानि च यत्रैवोपशमं यान्ति तस्मै सत्यात्मने नमः। ज्ञाता ज्ञानं तथा ज्ञेयं द्रष्टा दर्शनदृश्यभूः कर्ता हेतुः क्रिया यस्मत् तस्मै ज्ञात्यात्मने नमः। स्फुरन्ति सीकरा यस्मात् आनन्द्यस्याम्बरे वनौ सर्वेषां जीवनं तस्मै ब्रह्मानन्दात्मने नमः। दिवि भूमौ तथाकाशे बहिरन्तश्च मे विभुः यो विभात्यवभासात्मा तस्मै सर्वात्मने नमः।
Very nice. Beautiful. Okay.
Today I will be summarizing from section 112 to 115. Section 112, the technique of renouncing the vasanas of the mind. The attraction felt by the mind towards the worldly objects depends on the intensity of desire. Desires have no real basis and arise in the mind like bubbles in the ocean. They can be dissolved by enlightenment very easily. Enlightenment and fickleness are the natural property of the mind, just as heat is the natural property of fire. The magical potency of Maya has assumed the form of mind, and the mind in turn has created the illusion of the world process. When the mind becomes free from distractions, it is dead. Destroy the mind and experience limitless bliss of liberation. Mind is ever driven by vasanas, and when the vasanas are removed, one experiences limitless joy. The material aspect of mind is illusory, and the spiritual aspect is the reality. Mind alone has brought degradation in itself, and it is the mind alone that can save itself from sinking in the world of matter. If you realize vasanas are illusory, you will be able to destroy them. If the vasanas are destroyed, the mind is annihilated. When the objects are discovered as illusory modifications of the self, vasanas of the mind are dissolved. As long as consciousness is mingled with the perception of the senses, there is pain and sorrow. The knowledge in which all sense perceptions are negated is nirvana. Section 113, the knowledge of Brahman that annihilates vasanas. Just as there is nothing but water in the ocean, so too there is nothing but Brahman in this world. Vasanas are untrue. Since Brahman alone exists, even actions themselves do not exist. Hence, there is no meaning in asserting, I am not the doer. Vasanas alone have deluded the mind and have produced the magic show of the world process. When the vasanas are completely negated, one attains infinite bliss. Vasana, which is nothing but avidya, assumes the form of a mother or a wife and fills one's life with the sweetness of affection and love. But though sweet in appearance, it envenoms one's life with boundless misery. This avidya does not exist, yet she has blinded the vision of all beings. This avidya continues to drive every soul through repeated experience of birth and death and numerous afflictions. Section 114, the destruction of avidya through the knowledge of the self. The light of knowledge removes the mist of ignorance, just as the light of the sun dispels mist. Ignorance reveals itself through desires for objects of the world, and when these desires are removed, one attains liberation. Self is devoid of objects, free of mental projections, and so cannot be described by words. This entire universe is in fact nothing but Brahman. Avidya really does not exist. It is the self which assumes the role of mind through its imagination. Like the waves arising in the ocean, so do the many aspected objects arise out of the mind. Mind has arisen out of the sankalpa of the self, and it is in turn destroyed by one's own sankalpa. The limited intellect of an individual, being unable to penetrate the veil of ignorance, perceives the appearance of the world process instead of the absolute. It is the combination of thought, will, and imagination, that is the sankalpa of the mind, that forces one to experience a painful condition of dream, making him feel he is about to be destroyed. Likewise, it is another form of sankalpa that causes awakening in the individual. The moment the sankalpa, I am Brahman, arises, the world of time and space is drowned in the oblivion, like the experiences of a dream upon awakening. When the mind is controlled, the senses become incapable of creating vasanas. By entertaining the thoughts, the objects are mine, one allows oneself to be overpowered by vasanas. When one negates the thoughts of I and mine by asserting that Brahman alone exists, the vasanas are destroyed forever. Section 115, Sri Rama's wonder about the cause of King Ravana's misery. Sri Rama asked, in this blend of body and soul, which suffers the misery of the world and which enjoys the fruit of karmas? Sri Vasishta explained, the distinction of body and soul is imagined by the chitta of the mind. In fact, the body does not exist as a reality itself. Therefore, it is the soul that experiences the fruit of karmas. But even this soul is nothing but the reflection of the self in the chitta. As long as the chitta is unenlightened, the self appearing as individual soul experiences pleasure and pain as the result of karma. Just as the owner of the house performs various deeds and the house itself does nothing, in the same way, the soul performs all karmas while the body remains like an inert possession. Hari Om.
Very good. So we can uh, argue both ways. We can say the body does everything, the soul doesn't do anything, or the soul does everything, the body doesn't do anything. Everything depends upon the angle with which you are looking at. If you consider the soul as the pure Atman, Atman does nothing, but it is the BMI who does it. And but if you look at the soul as that subtle body, a subtle body does everything, and the grass body is just the instrument. So, like that, so we have to clearly understand in what context the uh, author is talking about. So that's why it gets very confusing sometimes when if you don't put the things in the right context. But you did a very good summary, Amma. Thank you. So we will start with page 113. the fruits of the mental sacrifice performed by King Lavana. Right? You want to read, Amma?
Which page you said, Raghuji?
Page 113, right?
We finished up to 115.
Okay, yeah.
16.
But Raghuji, you were going to explain Sri Rama's wonder about the cause of King Lavana's misery. You said you will revisit that today and explain it further. That's how you finished last week.
Yeah, that's correct.
Say it again once more.
You said last week when we concluded, you said that you would revisit section 115, Sri Rama's wonder about the cause of King Lavana's misery.
Right.
You said you will go ahead and revisit it and explain it further for us, Raghuji.
Right. I completely forgot. Thank you for reminding me. So, this is a very, very interesting thing that showing that how the minds are interconnected. Many a time that you get an idea and you like a poet and you write a poetry or you write an article or some researcher come up with an idea about this world is scientist, and the same thing happens in the mind of another person right across the world. And how can it be? But these things do happen. Okay. And this world of illusion, anything can happen. So it is not that the ideas that come only to one person. And many a time that what happens in a dream, that it comes true later on in your life. Then, hey, you found out already that you dreamt it and it happened. So it's just like Paramahansa Yoganandaji during meditation. He actually it was in India. He was not thinking of anything, but during meditation, he had a big vision of the whole beautiful ocean. On the banks of the ocean, there was a beautiful ashram with a lot of flower gardens and everything. And then, when he came here, it became real. And that is the one between the San Diego and Los Angeles. There is a big ashram of Param Yoganandaji, that it became real. So like that, in this total mind, so many things can happen. And that's what you see here, that the king, as we read in the thing, last couple of paragraphs, he had performed a great Rajsu Yagna. Okay. But he did it way how? In your own mind. Okay. He went through the whole process of Rajsu Yagna. Okay. But anytime that you perform anything, whether it's physically or mentally, okay, you do get results. When you do physically, here the body is not doing anything, but it is the mind which is making the body do. So the same way, like when we do the pujas also, okay, we say snanam samarpayami, but it's just only a drop of water. Or when you say naivedyam samarpayami, but you offer just a little bit of raisins or nothing. but it is the mind that matters, not the act itself. And what I wanted to tell was this story of which really happened. Once a king had built a great temple with beautiful pillars and gopurams and everything. But he was such a great devotee that he could even converse with Lord Shiva. So during his meditation, he requested Lord Shiva during the puja that tomorrow we are going to do the installation, please come and bless. But Lord Shiva said, no, I got an appointment with another gentleman in your country that who has built a temple, that I have to be there.
Dr. Raghuji, it was the king who asked, and then for the king he says no, and he wants to go to the devotee.
Say it again, Amma.
See that story, Hrudayaleshwara, there's a real story. The king also builds a temple, Shiva temple.
Right.
The devotee builds the Shiva temple in his heart. And for the king, the one date is set, his Purohit sets the date. And the king requests Bhagavan, during puja, and you please do come. And the same date was set by the devotee for his mental temple. So Bhagavan tells the king, no, I cannot come because I'm already busy. I'm inaugurating, I'm going to another temple. So then the king wonders who that devotee is. So then he comes looking for the devotee. Then but the king says, okay, show me your temple. He says, it's only in my mind. I don't have the real temple. So the king was so much impressed with that one. He builds the temple according to the devotees, the thoughts that he had. And that is the Hrudayaleshwara. It is somewhere in Tamil Nadu.
Yeah.
No, it is that the Pusal or Nayanar, one of the Nayanar story. Yes, yeah,
Right.
you are right.
Yeah.
Right. So like that, so you don't have to do physically, and so what you do mentally, it also gives results. So that's what exactly happened, that when the Lavana did this, what do we call the horse sacrifice, what do you call that?
Rajasuya.
Rajsu Yagna. Okay. But he did everything in the mind. And it is said that anybody who does the sacrifice like this, that they get a result. Okay, that result aspect we will see later in this next chapter. So I don't want to tell ahead of time. So what we perform in the mind also gives results, and sometimes as vasanas, that whatever that you are supposed to go through as a prarabdha karma, sometimes you exhaust it in a short time, in a few minutes, in your own dream, and so you don't have to go through in the waking state. So all these things happen. So we'll continue and read Amma.
Okay, Raviji. Section 116, Fruit of Mental Sacrifice performed by King Lavana. Sri Vasishta continued, O Rama, it is said that the performer of Ragasuya Yajna incurs displeasure of the jealous god Indra, the lord of the celestial worlds. Because of this, any performer of this yajna may suffer adversity extending up to 12 years. Indra became himself the magician to inflict King Ravana with this misery. And once his mission was completed, the magician vanished, going back to his abode in the subtle plane. The jealousy of Indra is a figurative expression denoting the need of removing subtle impurities from the mind towards the promotion of virtue. Through sufferings, which are, as it were, planned by jealous gods, an aspirant sees the suppressed defects of his unconscious brought before his conscious mind and learns the art of removing them. In conclusion, it is a fact that mental karma must bring forth its fruits. The mental karma of King Ravana brought forth the merit of performing the Rajasuya Yajna, as well as the necessary adversity planned by Indra in order to remove the impurities of the mind. Therefore, O Rama, grind the jewel of the mind by the practice of Hatha Yoga, asanas, pranayamas, yamas, and niyamas, and then purify it with the waters of concentration, meditation, and samadhi as enjoined in Raja Yoga. Let the purified jewel of mind be dissolved in the fire of wisdom, arising out of the practice of Jnana Yoga, consisting of listening, reflecting, and meditation. This is the path leading to supreme blessedness.
Comment?
No, Raghuji, you go ahead and tell.
So you can say that this is the explanation for this dream that the King Ravana went through, as though that for in 2 hours he went through the 12 years of miserable experience. And so whatever that impurities that were there, that was supposed to have been exhausted by going through that 2 hours of intense dream. But the next one that we see in that in conclusion, that that portion is actually not in the original book. I think it's just introduction by the Swamiji. So, and the Divine Life Society is a promoter of what you call integral yoga, where Bhakti Yoga, the Hatha Yoga, the what do you call the Raj Yoga and Gnana Yoga are all combined. That is surprisingly, it's only Chinmanda Swamiji that only started spreading only Gnana Yoga, though he got the what do you call the Diksha from Swami Shivanandaji. So Shivanandaji sent him to the Tapon Maharaj for Gnana, and so apparently Chinmaya Swamiji was supposed to spread only Gnana Yoga. But all the other Swamis that you see in the Divine Life Society and even the Jyotirmandaji, they talk about this Hatha Yoga. Actually, when he was younger, those who remember that he traveled quite a bit all over the country promoting the Hatha Yoga. And so as you can see that he is also promoting Gnana Yoga, but you can see because of his lectures that he has given in Bhagavad Gita and Upanishads also. So that commentary on this book beautifully. So anybody want to add comment?
Yeah, I understand Swami Shivananda early morning takes all the Sishyas and all, does the yoga in the bank of Ganga.
Right.
Swami Shivananda is very fond of that, getting up 4 o'clock and doing the yoga asanas.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, but
Wonderful. Go ahead.
I always thought of that, is that Hatha Yoga, right? Yama, Niyama, Pranayama, and Asanas actually kind of uh, a prerequisite even for just for the Jnana Yoga, because then only you will be able to have some, it actually helps you both physically and mentally prepare for. It's kind of a prerequisite. I mean,
Yeah.
kind of it will
Yeah.
help you understand more on this Jnana Yoga, right?
Yeah. Both, but the way I always remember about this Ashtanga Yoga is the first two, Yama and Niyamas. One has to be very perfect in Yama and Niyamas, then the asana, pranayama, all those things becomes very smooth and easy. And so we they start with asana and all that, and we forget the Yama and Niyamas, which are the most important to purify our life. So, very good. Anjaneyulu, sir, you want to continue?
Yeah, Hari Om Raghuji. Thus, the mental performance of yajna becomes effective. Whatever is done by the mind is indeed vital and effective. Therefore, O Rama, do not let your mind entertain the degrading feeling, I am the body, but rather allow your mind to sustain the elevating thought, I am Brahman. You will attain enlightenment. When the purity of the chitta shines like the sun, there is nothing in this world unaccomplished, nothing unconquered or unattained. With the pure mind, all desires are satisfied. All to be negated is negated, and the highest bliss of liberation is experienced. Shall I continue?
Comment?
Or? Yeah. Sri Rama asked, O sage, it is true that when the mind is destroyed, all miseries terminate. But since the mind is so fickle, how can it be destroyed?
Want to comment?
So the importance of the mind is emphasized in here. So we also learned in Amrita Bindu Upanishad, Manaya Manishyanam Karnam Bandhamoksha. So highly important as a sadhaka to train the mind, abhyasa, and also as earlier Pera said, yeah, yama niyama, and purification of mind, and also the
Yeah,
vasana removal, and all this helps to become free from cleaning the mind and
yeah,
attaining the liberation.
yeah, yeah. So when I was reading that paragraph that you read, that the mental performance of the yagna becomes effective, that the ninth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, a few slokas came to my mind. So I thought I would read that one. Lord says, Aham hi sarvayagnanam bhokta cha prabhureva cha natu mam abhijanante natve shavantite. For I am the enjoyer and also the Lord of all sacrificer, but they know me not in reality, hence they fall. Yanti deva vrata with devan, pitrun yanti pitrurataha, bhutani yanti bhutejyaha, yanti madhyaji yopima. Those who are owed to the gods go to the gods. Those who are owed to the mains reach the mains. Those who adore the spirits reach the spirits. And those who worship me come to me alone. So, like that, it's very, very important that we continue to contemplate uh, our minds in the Brahman, not on the worldly things or praying for heavenly pleasurable things. So do not let your mind entertain degrading feeling. I am the body. So once I am the body, naturally you feel that, oh, this is mine, that is mine, I have desires, I don't like this one and all that. So the purity of the chitta is easy to say, but difficult to perform. But we have to continue to persist. So
Yeah, really, that we say that, right? When I always thought, I just contemplated on it that I always thought, see, when we say when you are actually babies, right? Then we just call them as babies. Okay, there is no boy or girl or something. We just say babies. Then they just little bit grow up. They will become girl or boy, and there is also a distinction. And then there is actually we just talk about the body, then keep on learning all these years. We are the body, and it's kind of a why what that brainwash did to us. Instead of that, this that is why I think in the earlier days is when we go to Gurukula. In the early days itself, the guru is actually teaches okay about the you are Brahman. Instead of now, it says that we have to teach our own mind that you are not the body, I am Brahman. So that is why it is actually difficult, because all these years we actually just tuned to, I know, tuned, educated as ourselves that I am the body. Now we are actually doing a reverse process, right? We are actually just trying to clean up that whatever we learn, we are actually trying to do some unlearning. But right, that's what is happening, correct?
Yeah. I had to amend it a little bit.
Uh-huh. Okay.
The others can correct me if I am wrong. My understanding was reading the Taittiriya Upanishad and all the other Upanishads and listening to these talks and all that, that when the students went to the teacher taught the basics, the grammar, prosody, and all those things, and Jyotisha and all that, plus the Karmakanda portion of the Vedas. And then he sent him home to get married and live a Gruhastha life and live that the Karmakanda portion to purify himself. Only then, when he purified himself, then, like you see in the Kaivalya Upanishad, that the Mahashala, what is his name, I forgot, and he came to the teacher and said, please teach me that knowledge by which everything becomes known. Like that. And only a rare soul that who had a dispassion from because of the previous lives, then he stayed back with the guru, and that person was taught the knowledge. Like you see in the Taittiriya Upanishad, the what do you call, the Sikshavalli, after the teaching, that there's a graduation ceremony where the teacher gives the advice, go home, okay, and after you earn, give the Guru Dakshina, and then you get married, and then you treat your father, mother, Atiti as Guru, okay, and then you live a righteous life, okay, then you give the charities, okay, then you behave in the society like this and like this and like this, like that. Only in the second chapter and third chapter you see the Gnana Yoga portion. So I don't think anywhere in the ashrams that they taught the Gnana Yoga from the childhood.
No, my point was, why can't we start from the beginning? You are, you don't, and you are not the body part, right? The thing is, that's what we all our say, 10, 30, 40 years. I think at least I started around in 40 years. Until then, we just gave priority to, our body. Nobody is actually even give a notion that unless until you are actually, as you said, fortunate enough to born into a Jnani's house, you will not even hear about Brahman much, right? Even so, my point was, why can't we start in the early stage of our life, all these things, and so then
Theoretically,
we will be having a different perspective, right? That
yeah,
is what
now theoretically you are right, but I feel that the student has to be ready. Okay, a student uh, comes with his own vasanas. Okay, as you can see that Pandavas and Kauravas, they were all taught by the same guru. These are the same grandfather, but how they turned out. So
I.
like that, and we see the same story happening in homes also. One brother is not like the other brother. Everything depends upon our vasanas. Okay. I don't think that when you talk about Brahman, subtle body, gross body, and all that at a young age,
I
okay,
know, yeah, that I agree. Yeah, that's actually very high level of it, but at least don't give body another priority to I don't know how to put it.
okay.
Early education probably will, we don't have to struggle in our 50s. So That's what I meant, you know. So.
Yeah, okay.
But Sudhirji, we teach the children, who is this? And then we tell them, you are Gopal. So from the childhood, we ourselves put that idea, you are this body and your name is Gopal.
Yeah, that is what, you know, I wanted to say something, we should do something different than, you know, pointing it to that. That is what I was actually advocating. We should really come up, to at least maybe in the middle school level onwards, we should really, include some kind of a philosophy into their curriculum to understand that, right?
If the parents know about it.
Yeah, that is true.
Can we go further?
Sure. So,
Okay, Karpagam, you want to read, Amma? Page 114, the last paragraph, Amma. You are muted.
Sri Vasishta explained, this mind that consists of the three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas, arises out of Brahman and dissolves in Brahman. Brahma, the creator, is the nature of mind and creates the world process as a projection of the mind. It is the mind of Brahma that dreams of many minds through which many souls continue to experience dreams of diverse worlds. This world, then, is like a dream within a dream. Since the world is of the nature of creation and dissolution, the mind too is projected and dissolved in Brahman. This mind is not an unchanging reality, but a continuous fluctuation of illusion. The mind of an individual continues to intensify itself through desires. Karmic impression, vasanas, subtle desires, and sankalpas, thoughts based upon an egocentric vision of life. By the practice of inquiry and meditation, this mind is brought under control and is effaced from one's consciousness.
Finish, Amma.
From one's very childhood, one must study the Vedas under the guidance of a spiritual preceptor. Then, even as in your case, O Rama, one develops discrimination, dispassion, and spiritual aspiration for self-realization. This gives rise to inquiry into the nature of the self. As a yogi ascends the ladder of wisdom, he passes through 7 stages, which are called the Jnana
Bhumikas.
Bhumikas. Contrary to these, there are 7 Ajnana Bhumikas, the 7 stages of ignorance.
Yeah. Want to comment?
You go ahead, Raghuji.
So
I read it, but I didn't understand much of it.
Okay, Amma. So you can say the Rama was asking question. The mind is so fickle. How can you destroy it? That means how can you control it? So that's when it says the mind is constituted of the 3 gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas. So this is more detailed, elaborated in the 14th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So if you want to know about sattva, rajas, and tamas, that we should read the 14th chapter. It's very, very beautifully explained by Lord Krishna himself. And so, how did these gunas come? As Bhagavan says, that there are 2 aspects. One is, for me, Paraprakriti, Aparaprakriti. The Paraprakriti is the pure consciousness. The Aparaprakriti is the Jada, from which the whole world of names and forms, all the elements, the mind, the chitta, everything is comes out. And the same way, each we see in 17 or 18 chapters the various aspects of sattva, rajas, and tamas. Like if I one said the puja, what kind of puja sattvic person does, rajasic person does, tamasic person does. What kind of food the one desires, what kind of gods one worships, what kind of tapas one performs, what kind of what do you call the yagnas he performs, what kind of knowledge he has. All these things are beautifully given there. And but everything has come out of Brahman, meaning that from the Apara Prakriti. And everything can go back to that. When we withdraw ourselves from the names and forms of the world and withdraw and direct our mind towards the Brahman, then it gets absorbed. That is what we call the Atyantika Pralaya. That means moksha. And but here in the that paragraph, Bhagavan, Vasishta Rishi is talking about how the Brahma created this world. The creator, this is completely whole universe according to our scriptures, is a mental creation of Brahma. Is mentally projected the various beings. And that's why all this Vasishta Rishi, the what do you call Sapta Rishis, the Narada, and what do you call Sanat Kumaras, they are called Manasaputras. Just by he imagined and they all came out. And the same way, the whole thing is supposed to be the mental projection of the Brahmaji. And it goes through various phases: creation, sustenance, and dissolution. So this world is not a constant thing, it's a constantly changing thing. The same way that our mind is one of, just like the world is constantly changing. So it's just a bunch of thoughts. And when, because of our vasanas from the past life, that this our what do you call the causal body projects the various thoughts for experience, they become sankalpas. Those sankalpas manifest through our mind and senses and the body. Without knowing, we identify with all that and say, oh, I am Raghu. I got this and desire. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to achieve this. But with the practice of inquiry and meditation, then the mind is brought under control, and then you get absorbed into one's own consciousness. But how do you do that? Until the mind is purified, one is not able to do it. So, but you see here, the Lord Rama also, during his Gurukula, he was not taught about this Gnana Yoga, about this knowledge. Only when he went after the Gurukula, then he decided to go into the country to see the whole country. Then he saw the various difficulties people going through, the birth, sickness, death, and all that, like Buddha. Then he developed great dispassion. Only out of because of great dispassion that he was brought in front of the gurus, the Vasishta and the Vishwamitra, and so the teaching started. So unless the person has that dispassion, the teaching is not given. So you can say all the other ministers and all that who were there at that time, they could have been given the teaching that Vasishta Rishi had not given. Only they became secondary listeners through Lord Rama. So, did all of them become enlightened? So I feel it depends upon the purity of that each individual. So, what are the stages of this enlightenment? That's beautifully given here. And also, another thing that's given is there are 7 steps of ignorance also given. And so, the first, he is talking about 7 steps of ignorance. So, that gives us a like a way of looking at ourselves and say, hey, what stage of ignorance am I in? Okay, so it's a good idea to pay attention and read, and then even if you can't understand, you read it again after the class and see where you are. Whether you are in the 7 stages of ignorance or you are in the 7 stages of this knowledge. So we will go to Manavamma.
I can read, but I think Dinesh Sharma is there and you didn't.
Is Dinesh here?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I was looking at it and say, oh, Dinesh is not here. I'm sorry. I didn't see. Dinesh, go ahead, sir.
I'm here.
Good.
The 7 stages of ignorance. Sri Vasishta continued, O Rama, there are 7 stages of ignorance and 7 stages of knowledge, and each have numerous subdivisions. While increasing involvement in the world of matter and ever-growing impressions of attachment to the enjoyment of sense objects constitute the basis for the movement in ignorance. Listening to scriptural teachings, reflecting upon the self, and the inquiry of who am I constitute the movement in knowledge. One must turn away from the states of ignorance and direct his steps to the ascending heights of knowledge. Listen to the 7 stages of ignorance, which must be avoided in order to ascend the 7 stages of knowledge or wisdom. Liberation consists of abiding in the self, but with the rising of the ego sense, one, as it were, falls away from his true essential nature and forgets the self. This is known as bondage.
Want to comment?
Yeah, the 7 stages of ignorance that Swamiji is talking about here. Again, going back to the knowledge which I have gathered from earlier studies. I consider myself to be a work in progress. So it's very, very important to always pause whenever there are challenges or ignorance or some attractions to some things. It's just what I have found. If I pause, reflect, I can overcome it. But at the same time, if I just go along with it in a moment, then most of the time I end up making mistakes.
Yeah.
So this.
Yes. That is called wisdom, right?
That is why I call myself a work in progress. I'm continuously
right. The thing
reflecting.
is, tell me, did you have that kind of wisdom of stopping and evaluating when you were 25?
No.
So that's the thing. At that time, you think, oh, I am this body, I am so and so, that you don't have that kind of a wisdom to, hey, let me step back, let me think before I do it, kind of a thing. So that's why we always wish, I wish I had that wisdom when I was 20 or 18. So that's exactly, I was talking to Hemant today, and he went to 2 meetings, one meeting that about a year ago and now, and the last meeting was all young people. And here in this meeting, it was the mostly older people. So the younger people who are like were investing in the investing field, and so they said, "Come on, let us all enjoy. We are making money." Okay, and so this time it's all the senior people. So they said, "Hey, let us look at everything in the right perspective." Okay. And what is it that we have done? What is it that we can do better? How we should be conservative and all that. So like that. So in every field, that as we grow, we develop that maturity, and that is needed in every field, not necessarily in the spiritual field alone. So
I don't know sometimes how it comes to somebody who is in their 20s. Like I mentioned before, too, that my sister's son, nephew, who became a monk, he was, I remember when I went to, when my father had heart surgery and died at that time, but I went there and I was there in the hospital. He was helping my mother and he was sleeping with my mother there in the hospital. And he was in college at that time. He became a software engineer afterwards. So he, he is so much, he stayed in Kadapa and went to college also, were undergrad. So what I'm trying to tell you is he was very much attached to my father. And when my father died, he fought with the surgeon. I was right there. He fought with the surgeon. You are the one who did all this to my grandfather and all that. Okay. And I came back, and later on, he finished his software engineering, worked for a year or two, and then decided, I don't want any of this. I want to become a monk. He's now in Bangalore, Krishna conscious thing, ISKCON. He's the monk there. Every time I go, I want to see him. So when I called him the last time, 2 years ago, I went and saw him. He's very happy, whatever he is doing. So he's hardly in his early 30s.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So how they get it, that's all the
Right.
bottom line, what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
at that young age, how do they get this, and how
Well,
do they leave everything and go?
probably that's what you are going to do in the next life.
I don't know.
See, that exactly happens.
But
See,
the thing is, when we were talking about 25 and 20, we don't know, we don't think that way. And his brother is not like that. There are two brothers. One is, his name is, the one who became monk is Kalyan. And the other brother got married. He has two sons, and he took over his father's business, and he's doing regular things that anybody at that age does. So two brothers, and this is one left everything and left, and the other one is still with them, with the mother and all that. So
you can see that both are doing a good job, and the one that who left probably could not have done if this brother was not there to take care of the parents.
Yeah.
And so that way they will complement each other. But as a Grihastha, probably he will do the same thing and retire early and have like a spiritual life. So we need both. So
Okay.
Go ahead.
These are the 7 stages of ignorance. Bija Jagrata, root waking, Jagrata, waking, Mahajagrata, great waking, Jagrata Swapna, waking, dream, Swapna, dream, Swapna Jagrata, dream waking, and 7 Sushupti, sleep. When the self, due to the thin veil of ignorance, joins with the chitta, mind stuff, in the causal plane, it is the stage of root waking, because the chitta tinged with ignorance is the root of the world process. This is the initial stage of ignorance. Then, as the self gradually begins to develop identification with the subtle body consisting of the mind and senses, it begins to experience itself as an embodied person in a world of time and space. It begins to identify itself with the physical body and begins to gather impressions of like and dislike from the world of objects. This stage of ignorance is called Jagrata or waking. And in this stage, the impressions of the world are not intense. So here they gave all those 7 stages of the ignorance. And the first stage, I think, explaining the self is, identifying with the subtle body consisting of mind and senses. And, it identifies with the physical body and begins to gather impressions of likes, dislikes, and from the world objects. But interestingly, the last 2 sentences say is that this first stage is of the ignorance is called Jagrata or waking. It's only in this stage the impressions of the world are not very intense. So that may be just starting.
Yeah. So we have to remember here the word Jagrata is not referring to our waking state. It is the state of the mind in relation to between the knowledge and ignorance.
Yeah.
Okay. And Manoj, Maya is not here. And Nag, you want to read, sir?
Hayom, sir. As the impressions of like and dislike continue to intensify under the influence of ignorance, the self becomes so involved with the world of objects that it cannot conceive of a reality beyond the visible perceptions of the world. Here it is in the stage of Maha Jagrata, great waking. This stage is so named because the spirit in man is so awake to the world that any possibility of perceiving the spiritual world is drawn from its view. It is asleep to the inner realities of its essential nature of the self. Then, unable to cope with the realities of daily life, people begin to live in the dreams of their minds. They learn to live in the island of their idealistic world. This is called Jagrata Swapna, waking dream. As ignorance is still more intensified, a person moves from the stage of waking dream to that of dream. Here, the normal realities of the waking state are completely lost due to increasing confusion of the mind. This is the 5th stage of ignorance.
Want to comment?
The only comment is, I think from going from level 1 to level 7 will happen in a matter of minutes. I think it's not going to take forever. The way the ignorance gets one mind, it happens just like that. I don't think it's going to take a long time.
Now, the way I am looking at it is not that a person goes down like that. Somebody can correct me. These are all the different stages people are in. It's not that I was in the Bija Jagrata and then I went down to Jagrata and to Mahajagrata. Or if I had done it in the past lives, yes. But in this, like after birth, that I went through this, I don't think that that's what he's talking about. So though it appears as if that is going down. So
But I thought it is actually getting mature, right? There it is. Initially, he was what is that? First, he was developed the likes and dislikes. Then he actually just get immersed into the world. Then he actually just getting out of the world and confusion about whether this is there only. I think we are all whether we are mind or not. So that's the kind of the development. It is actually it is not going down. It is going up, right?
No, no, no. Let me say what I understood here. Okay. The beach Jagrata is stage because of the ignorance that I am the Brahman. Okay. That person is still almost like an enlightened person. Okay. But the tinge of attachment to the world is still there. Okay. But Jagrata is where the attachment to the world has become more.
More,
And
yeah.
Mahajagrata is our real waking state. Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Where I am really identified with this body. Okay. And just like it says there, that no kind of teaching is going to be helping me. The stage is named because the spirit in man is so awake to the world that any possibility of perceiving spiritual world is drowned from his view. So this is the kind of person that and Surya was talking about. If we give spiritual education during our childhood, it might help. That kind of person, nothing is going to help because that is so much identified with the world that I am this body, I am this world, not going to. And the next stage is Jagrat Swapna is the dreaming people in the sense that he is awake here to the world, but he is not really awake to this world of what is this world, what you are. Okay, then he start dreaming. Oh, I am so and so. So he start having false ideas about himself, and he is living in his own dream world. Uh, Not in the real reality. That he thinks that he is so and so, or he is better than other people, and all that. He might be no better or worse than the other people, but he thinks great of himself. And so, as you see, different levels of the fall from the spiritual state. So let us continue and let's finish this chapter and then we'll talk more. And Padmaja is not here, Raja Reddy is not here. Rakesh Kumar, you want to continue, sir?
And ignorance continues to grow. A normal person belong to Jagrata state enters into Mahajagrata. He gradually turns away from the realities of the spirit and begins to abide in the world of illusion. This state merges into dream, and with the further intensification of ignorance, the dream world becomes the reality. Sinking still further into ignorance, Swapna Jagrata, dream waking, dominates, during which one becomes so awake to the imaginations and fancies of his mind that he considers them to be only realities of the life. The idea that there is a world of reality other than his ego conceived world is totally beyond his understanding. In the beginning stages of abnormality, there is a perception of being abnormal, and there's an eagerness to come back to normality. But in the advanced state of abnormality, the loss of one's normal identity is rather cherished and perpetuated. One begins to live with a false identity of oneself, and what used to be a short lived dream now becomes a perpetual waking state. This is known as Swapna Jagrata, dream waking. As a process of losing hold of reality continues, the reasoning faculty becomes so feeble that it cannot even sustain a world of fancy and imagination. The mind has dissipated its energy to such an extent that is like a shattered mirror and is unable to reflect the reality of the self, even to a degree.
Minute degree.
Minute degree, sorry. The opacity of the mind veils all perceptions of the world from one's view, and such a person is deeply sunk in his dark unconscious. This is the sushupti or sleep stage of ignorance and is the climax of movement of ignorance. So continue the same thing, they are trying
So
worse and worse.
finish up the rest paragraphs.
Oh, okay. Each of these 7 stages is further subdivided into hundreds of branches, for the life of an individual is like a dream within a dream. The spirit continues to drift from one whirlpool to another, as it were caught in the rapids of the word process. An aspirant must endeavor to avoid these 7 stages of ignorance in order to ascend the 7 glorious and sublime stages of wisdom.
Yeah.
They're continuing the same thing like it started with the 4 5 stages, then going down to how you go further down from Mahajagrat, go to the Swapna Jagrata, and then you go to the last stage. So you are getting more involved in the world. You are trying to get away from the wisdom because you're trying to get fooled yourself. And you get to the stage, you are not looking at all because dream waking, that just you are continually more and more involved with the world, not looking the wisdom at all. So say instead of doing this, you try to get the wisdom because they say there unless you get the wisdom, you can keep going down. And to get the wisdom is to go to the preceptor, learn. And I can see myself because at age of 20, 25, 30, never read all these things. Since joining this group, talking to people, going to swamis, listening to lectures, so you made a progress. You can see there's some changes there, but it's still a long way to go.
Don't think it's long way to go.
Thank you, Dr. Raghu.
Just like a bell curve, okay? It's starting at the shish. You're doing good.
Thank you.
Anybody want to comment?
Raghuji, it says hundreds of grades. Is it given in the detailed book about this sevens further divided into more gradations?
No, it's not. It is not. So,
and instead of coming from the top, we should go from the bottom, and that's what a sadhaka does and reaches the top. Maybe.
let me say a few things that impressions that went into my mind. See, these are all the different kinds of people who are in different stages like this. And if you put sattva, rajas, and tamas, the Jagrata and Bija Jagrata, they are more sattvic. And this Mahajagrata is the one who is majority Rajasic. And as it goes down further and further, they're becoming more and more tamasic. They become more and more self-centered, and even in the so-called the Swapna Jagrata and Sushupti, they are in their own world. Okay, I'm so and so, I'm so and so, like that, and apart from me, there's nothing else interested, and they're so tamasic. They're interested in only sleeping and dreaming and hoping things will come out okay, and they don't have any interest in taking care of the world or doing anything good. And that kind of a person to wake up to go to even the Bija Jagrata is extremely difficult. Only any punya karmasi if he had done, if he get exposed to satsang, then he might gradually wake up. So that's why I always, like Chinimananda Swamiji said in 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that I think a few slokas that come. So when na buddhi vedam, so don't try to change the attitude of the people who are ignorant, because they won't listen. So if an ignorant person is doing all the work and things like that, you do the work also, but do it in such a perfect way without detachment that looking at you, he should learn. Okay? Just by trying to tell him that he is not going to learn. Okay? And the one who is tamasic, Swapna and Swapna Jagrata, that kind of a person, only way that you can influence him is, hey, if you do some work, you will get some money. Okay, I'm going to give you this and this and this, like that. So they have to be tempted to do things for material gains, not for spiritual gain. Okay. And that kind of a person, as he sees the benefit of working and material gains, and gradually, as he grows up in another 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, then you might be able to tell him, hey, come and study, do some karma yoga. Okay. By the time he reaches 50, 60, that he has achieved certain things, and then he doesn't mind giving a little bit of 5% of his income to the society and things like that, then he will spiritually grow. And that kind of person is not going to grow in one life. So the different stages is not like what happens in one life, but these are the different stages of people that we are all in. And
Raghuji, can I add something, Raghuji?
Of course.
This reading this description of Swapna Jagrata, the more you read the description, to my mind, the first thought that came is a political leader who fits into this description of Swapna Jagrata.
Yeah.
I don't want to mention name, but somehow the description brought this person first to my mind.
Yeah.
And I feel that from here, there is more chance of becoming a Sushupti rather than becoming a Mahajagrata.
Say it again. Last sentence.
From this, I feel there is a higher chance of going to the stage of Sushupti rather than Mahajagrata.
Correct. Mahajagrata, is the waking thing. You are right. So, but the thing is, you have to understand, we should not be generalizing. Okay, because there are politicians, okay, that who are very honest, okay, and their whole property put together, okay, that you will be surprised. He is a politician, and this is all money he has, okay. And I remember who was the senator when I was in Warner Robins. I forgot the name, and very, very honest man, very, very good man.
Sam Nunn.
Right, Sam Nunn. Like that. So there are people who are honest, who want to serve the society, and they chose the field. And so, like I know what you are talking. That there are some both ways, and so anyway. Same way, whether you want to take the medical field, you see the same thing: sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic. Okay, it might be mostly sattvic and sattvic rajasic, but the thing is that any field that you will see that kind of a thing. So, okay. So now we saw here 8:12. So we still got some time. So we will go to study the 7 stages of knowledge. So I think this is the thing that we should read it a couple of times and understand it. Only one sloka commentary that I want to read about this ignorance thing, and I'm going to read this one before we go to the next chapter. He says, "Know this as the shortest lesson that I will give you of the definitions of the true knowledge and ignorance, that it is remaining in one's own true nature, that Swarupa, that constitute the highest knowledge and liberation. And his divergence from it to the knowledge of his ego is the cause of his ignorance and leads him to the error and bondage of the world." And I'll just read one more sloka. "Of this, they that do not deviate from their conscious samvit of themselves, Swarupa, as composed of the pure or essence, only that is Shuddha Sanmatra, are not liable to ignorance. because of their want of passions and affections, and of the feelings of envy and enmity in them. So you can say that we are talking of the sattvic person. So now that's the kind of person we are going to read more who progresses to the higher states of spirituality. And Ratnama not here. Rob is Rob here today? I don't know what happened. Rohini Amma, Sarveshi here. Want to read, sir?
Hari Om.
Hari Om, sir.
The 7 stages of knowledge.
Yes, sir.
Sri Vasishta continued. Now listen to the 7 stages of knowledge. Their practice will lead you out of the mire of ignorance and will give rise to the glorious state of liberation. Brahman, reflecting in the purified mind, becomes the removal of ignorance and is known as knowledge or wisdom. This knowledge unfolds through 7 stages known as Gnana Bhumikas, stages of knowledge. The 7 stages of knowledge are Subheksha or aspiration, Vichara or reflection, Tanumanasi or attenuation of the mind, Sattvapatti or purification, Asamshakti or detachment from the world process, Padartha Bhavana or absence of world process, and Turiya or Turiyaga or transcendental realization of the absolute. He's saying here that the Brahman is reflected in the purified mind as our knowledge, and that leads us to the 7 stages of knowledge given here. That is what was told by Sri Vasishta, and continuing. So
yeah, as the knowledge shines forth through our intellect, layer by layer, our ignorance is removed by this kind of study and satsang. And so these are the stages that we grow up. So if you are not in the 7 stages of the ignorance, now we have to see if you are in any of the stages of the knowledge. So, and Shobhanam, I want to continue.
Hari Om. Why do I abide in a dull state? Let me understand the nature of the self by taking recourse to the guidance of a spiritual perceptor and by studying the scriptures. Having thus resolved, an aspirant equips himself with the 4-fold qualifications of liberation. He begins with the practice Shravana or listening to the teachings of the scriptures, thus constitutes the first stage as known as Shubhecha. By the repeated practice of study of scriptures, good association, and increasing vairagya or dispassion, an aspirant enters into the second stage known as vicharana or reflection. In this state, he becomes adept in the practice of reflection and meditation on the divine self. So the first 2 stages are
Go ahead and
described
read the
here.
next one too.
Okay. As a result of the practice of these first 2 stages, the impurities of the mind are gradually dissolved. The subtle impressions of attachment and hatred that distract the mind are brought into an attenuated state. Therefore, the third stage is known as tanumanasi or attenuation of the mind. So this, I think the descriptions clearly define the 3 stages, Raghuji. So first is Shravana, the second stage is Vicharana, which is more Manana, and probably the Tanumanasi is Nidhyasana.
Right. So you can see how once the interest develops, then hey, there must be more to it in life than this worldly life of eating, sleeping, and enjoying, and getting old and die. There must be something more to it in life. Then you reach the preceptor, or a preceptor comes to you in some form. And then you start getting attracted to that knowledge. That is the Shubhecha. And so, as you do the Shravana, then you get into more reflection on it. That is the Vicharana. So, you want to study more, you want to read more, you want to understand, you want to question why it is said like this, why it is said like that, and that. And as you continue to do that, of course, as it is said by the Swamiji, that one has to with that interest, one has to go through the sadhana chatushtaya, the viveka, vairagya, shatka sampatti, and mumukshutvam. So with that, what happens with what do you call the uh, shama, dama, uparama, titiksha, and all that, your mind becomes purer and purer. That's called tanumanasi. Okay, we'll continue. And Sudhirji, you want to continue, sir?
Yes. In the fifth stage, when the above three stages are practiced with repeated effort, a yogi acquires intuitional vision of the mind. Then the fourth stage, known as Sattopati or purification, unfolds, and the yogi becomes self realized. He knows Brahman, and therefore he is called a Brahmavid, a knower of Brahman. This vision continues to unfold through the last three stages as prarabdha, fructifying karma of the sage continues to be exhausted until the self is absolutely released from the world process. In the fifth stage, the vision of wisdom arising out of samadhi becomes so intensified that a sage becomes free from all karmas and their involvement. He becomes detached from the world even as butter is detached from milk. And this stage is called asamsakti or detachment from the world process. The world becomes like a dream, and a sage in this stage is called Brahma Vidwara or greater knower of Brahman. As this stage is further intensified, it ripens into the sixth stage of Padartha Bhavana, the absence of the world process. In Padartha Bhavana, a sage experiences the stage of sleep at all times, and the world is experienced as an ocean of silence, as the world is constantly negated by intuitional vision. The self continues to become the constant identity of the sage. A sage established in this state is called Brahma Vidvariyan, a still greater knower of Brahman. So this is actually the continuing a transition from the earlier that from the Tanumanasi, and it is a kind of they're trying to attenuation of mind, and but that means he are actually reducing the impact of mind and control of mind. Then he actually turn into Brahmavid, kind of knower of it, at least in the he knows it, at least that. I don't know whether this is a stage where that's the theoretical knowledge of Brahman, or else maybe it is actually more than that. At least he understands that he is a Brahman, but I don't know whether he is actually in this stage he is actually a realized person. But the only thing is he is actually detached from the world processes. And the next stage he is actually from and he's intensified on that and understand the super consciousness. He totally detached from the world, but he is in the world like a butter detached from milk. I think Manoj, we discussed this in yesterday's class, day for yesterday in Gita class. Okay, so as like a butter and detached from milk, so he is there, but it is detached from the world process. And for him, the world is like a another dream. He totally realized that the world is an illusion, kind of. And then the next stage is Padartha Bhavana, and he's totally off the whole world process, and he's in silence, and he do have he don't have any I don't know that one that I don't know. He's further going ahead with his and what is exactly the stage is that at least I don't understand. The self continues to become constantly identity of the state. He is actually in self all the time, probably. Right? Then he's always in the self, he's not attached to the world at all. And the previous two stages, at least he is kind of somehow some kind of an attachment with the world, but this stage, Padartha Bhavana, he don't have any attachment to the world totally at all. He's totally detached, and he is actually always in the self.
Yeah.
That's what I understood.
Yeah. So externally, I was thinking that a person was Padartha Bhavana, that he says the absence of the world process. This says explains the state of sleep at all times. Okay. So externally, another person might look at him as, oh, he must be at the Sushupti stage, the lower stage of ignorance. Okay. So you can see the difference. That person is sleeping to the spiritual world, completely slept, and even he has slept even to this waking world. But here,
Is it is actually can we say that it is in the Ananda, because we say the Sushupti, you are in the Ananda Bhavana, right? So he is
right
always
he is in Sushupti. He might be enjoying that deep sleep state, okay, but he is ignorant, okay, of his real nature. But here, he's not really sleeping. Okay, he's like sitting in meditation. Okay, he's not like lying flat on the bed, and he sleep to the world. That means he doesn't have any consciousness of the what the world is. As as if anybody who read the life story of Ramana Maharshi, you will see that he was completely out of this world, and some gentleman took interest and started pushing food into his mouth to sustain that body. So like that. Okay, it's already 8:27. Shall we continue or shall we wait?
We'll wait, Raghuji.
Wait. Okay. So we are going to let us see who is going to do the summary. Anjaneyulu, you do the summary.
Okay, Raghuji, sure.
Okay. And then we will complete this chapter. You can
it is very
see,
apt. It is very apt that you brought Ramana Maharshi. In the next page, Ramana Maharshi's photo is there.
yeah, exactly. Yes, you can see, yeah. See, that is the thing. When you read the life stories of these people, then you can see the examples of people in different stages of their spiritual life. And then I will put Chinmanda Swamiji to one who has gone to the high level, but he has come down to the level of the fourth stage. Okay, to help the sattvapatti, so that you can help the people. So you can go up and come down. Okay, It's not that you have come forced to come down. It's that voluntarily you come down to the world level. Okay. Fourth stage is Brahmavid. You have realized you have no more rebirths. Okay, that's finished. Okay. But if you are still, because of prarabdha living in this world, then if you continue to meditate, then all the little tendencies of the little vasanas that might be still there from prarabdha, they all get dissolved out, and then you get into that pure state of samadhi stage. That's the turiya stage. So,
And
just
the
because
fourth
you're not
stage
in
is also
turiya,
Jivan. Sorry.
just because you're not in turiya, that it doesn't mean that you're not realized. That's one thing we have to remember. You say something.
Yeah. So Raghuji, the Sattva-patti stage is also the Jivan Mukta stage, right?
Correct.
Okay.
From Sattva-patti and above, he's a realized person. That's what I understood. I think at the end of the chapter it might come up. So
I think in Yoga Vasishta Sara Sangraha, Puja Guruji says that the Sattvapatti is the state where the seeker starts to see glimpses of the truth. And its absorption into being. That's what. The degree of detachment increases with each stage. This is where he starts to see the glimpses of the truth.
Okay.
And Brahmavit is stage 5. That's what Puja Guruji is writing here.
I see. Okay. Okay.
I mean, that's what he is writing. The seeker who gets even a glimpse of the reality, then he goes to the next stage as a Brahmavit, knower of reality. That's it. That is the Asam Sakti.
Yeah. Okay. The only thing is, here you can see in the page 122, in the third paragraph, Swamiji says, in talking about Sattvapatti, in the fourth stage known as Sattvapatti or purification unfolds and the yogi becomes self-realized. He knows
Yeah, that's
Brahman, and
also.
therefore he is called Brahmavit, the knower of Brahman.
I have no idea.
So anyway,
This is
I know
what.
there are also gradual stages, but we're not going to quibble about, no, it has
That's
to be.
what I'm saying. That it is again here. He is saying the seeker who gets even a glimpse of the reality. It's a stage by stage thing.
Right.
I mean, one goes to the next stage, and the seeker may come out of contemplation sometimes, but to abide again in the truth in instantaneous and effortlessness.
Right.
That's what Asam Sakti is talking about. So we are talking about pretty much the same.
Yeah, right.
So
Good. So Anjaneyal will do the summary in next class and we will stop here. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaः Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you, Raghuji.
Hari Om, Raghuji.
Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Vijayadashami Pranam, Raghuji.
Vijayadashmi Pranam. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Namaskara, Ratna.
Namaskara. I just listened to Swamiji. I
Very
just feeling well.
You can't get away from us, that I'm glad.
I just listened.
Very good.
It was beautiful. I didn't want to miss it. Thank you. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om.